Around the world, on any given day, more than 800 million people are menstruating, and at least 5 million of those lack adequate resources, including supplies, education, and facilities for managing their periods. This information coming to you from an organization that is working towards period equity. Greetings to all the amazing people watching and listening to this. Welcome to CHEZUBA Talks, a podcast dedicated to sharing compelling stories of hope, determination, and humanity. Thank you for joining me on this discovery of the human spirit. I'm Tait, your host, and with me today is Lysne Tait, founder and executive director of Helping Women Period, a nonprofit that provides free menstrual products to those experiencing homelessness and low-income disparity in Michigan, USA. She is a nationally known period equity expert and loves talking about all things period-related. Welcome, Lysne. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. This is exciting.
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing what you do. You started in 2015. How did the thought of starting something like this come about?
It's actually, I always call us an accidental nonprofit. We really didn't mean to start a nonprofit. My friend and I had read an article about the lack of product for homeless women, and we thought that was ridiculous. Like, we had always assumed that government agencies had taken care of that kind of, period products for homeless women. And when we found out that that wasn't the case, we said we had to do something about it. So our original plan was just to have a breakfast, fundraise some money, and buy a case or two of product off of Amazon and give it to the local shelter, and we would be done. And obviously that didn't work.
Here you are.
Yeah, here I am 7 years later. What we ended up doing is we put it on Facebook. We said, we'll have a breakfast. We'll invite 30 of our closest friends, and maybe we can raise $500. So we put it on Facebook on a Sunday, and on Tuesday of that week, we had to change our venue because we had 100 people coming, not the 30 that we had first thought. And then on Thursday of that week, we filed nonprofit paperwork because we had people from all over the world who wanted to send us money, and we wanted to be as transparent as possible to do that. And then we had our breakfast. We raised $4,000 and thought, we don't want to give that all to, Amazon, this big box company. We want to try and see if there's somebody local we can use. So we started looking around and found a local janitorial supply company that provides it to restaurants and that kinds of thing. And we started working with him, and he said, I'll sell it to you at wholesale rates if you buy 100 cases. And we were only planning on doing 2. So we're like, well, sure, we'll do 100 cases. And we put it in our cars and in our living room. Like, we had no place to store this, and started looking at how we can distribute this the best way possible. We didn't want to be 2 middle-aged white women just handing stuff out on the street. Put yourself in that person's place. There's so much that help can be really kind of hard.
Absolutely.
Accepting help and having people hand things to you all the time. So we decided to work with with charity partners, we call them, other groups that already had that kind of relationship established with the people that we wanted to help. Food banks, domestic violence shelters, homeless shelters, schools. So that's what we did. And it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And that first year, I think we raised about $11,000, and
I think many people resonated with the fact that these people need help, and this is something it's like a basic necessity, right? It is not something that is a luxury; it is a necessity.
Right.
So, and
and in the States, it was taxed as a luxury, even like a luxury.
I mean, that's beyond. So you had 2 million products that you distributed free of charge. It's not a small number.
No, and actually we're up to 3 million now. It's just,
wow.
It's amazing. Yeah. Last year we distributed 740,000 And we're already there this year. So it's, the need is there, and people don't realize it. Like here in the States, we think, oh, it's not in my backyard. You know, it's in some low income area, or it's overseas in a developing country, or it's not happening here, but it is. There's 1 in 4 people who menstruate don't go to school or work in the US because they don't have the product they need. And because it is such a basic need, I don't know. So we decided, like, instead of just giving product, we were going to start looking at what the real issue was, right? The real issue is not that people don't have product. That's just a symptom. The real issue is that we don't have a livable wage. We don't have a way to take care of the people who need what they need when they need it. And so that's our new kind of direction we're going.
Right. So
And
sorry.
Go ahead.
So when you have somebody who knows that this is a place that they can get the free products, is it a recurring occurrence? Do the same people come to you every month, every few weeks, or whatever? Is it something?
So we do 2 ways of handing out product. We distribute to the main groups, like the food banks, and we just give them cases of product. And then we do food banks. And so we do mobile food banks. We see the same people, approximately the same people every month. And that was one of the reasons we decided we needed to fix the problem, you know, the underlying problem, not just hand out the product that's needed. Because, you know, if people still can't get what they need.
I get that. But there has to be a solution to that, right? Somewhere, instead of just accepting that every month or accepting that every 30 days, some kind of solution needs to be put in place. And I think you're working towards it. You have some workshops, or you have some community fairs, or, you know, places where you're educating communities about these issues?
Yes. And one of the things we have at one of our community events, we have this thing we call a menstrual petting zoo. And it's all different kinds of menstrual products so that people can actually touch them, because you see them in the store and you don't know what a menstrual cup is. It's, you know, it's scary. It's in this box. It's weird. You've never seen it. None of your parents, you know, your family has never used it. So giving people a chance to touch and feel, and we can give examples like, this is how you put it in. This is how you take it out. This is really is helping people understand. There's such a lack of knowledge about their own bodies. Like, there's so many people who don't understand what goes on during the menstrual cycle. And if I say, oh, a menstrual cup sometimes helps with cramps, and they're like, well, how does, you know, is it just magic? Or so we have to go into the whole thing about how this is what your uterus looks like, and this is how it works. So
the neighborhoods that you work in, are these the neighborhoods which have, I will use the word underprivileged, you know, students attending these schools or colleges? And do you have workshops there at that particular age, maybe 6th grade or 5th grade, whatever age that is that you need to?
Yeah, well, we're trying. There's a lot of, we have to do things after school, because during school time, it's there are rules about what you can talk about for reproductive health and that kind of thing. So we are trying to work with younger and younger students too, because there are many girls starting at 8 or 9 now. And
exactly, yeah. Nowadays the age is
and teachers aren't ready for that. You know, like if you have a child who's 8 who starts her period in your classroom,
it's scary for the student as well as the teacher.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, and you asked if we are mostly in underprivileged areas, but we go anywhere, because everybody needs to know about this, and we're trying really hard to make this not a stigmatized issue.
Right.
You
so
know,
Is it still a taboo topic in schools, even in developed countries? Is it still not talked about? Is period knowledge not talked about enough?
Correct. It is not talked about enough. And so many kids, like I talk to so many people about their experiences, maybe having an accident at school or bleeding through and remembering, like an 80-year-old woman the other day was blushing, telling me about the time she bled through in 7th grade. And if you still have that much, it's trauma, or, if that's your response still after 70 years, it seems like we need to do something about that part of our society too. And when I first started, I thought, I'm going to go talk to anyone about what we do so that people know what's going on. And I thought, men are not going to want to talk to me. They're going to be, nope, we don't want to hear it. And they've been some of the most receptive, most helpful, conversations that I've had have been with dads who want to know how to help their, single dads who want to know how to help their daughters, or, I think the more we have this conversation, the better.
There's a lot of discussion happening in social media also, but I think we are yet to get there in terms of being open about it. It's still not talked about enough.
Right. Well, when we started in 2015, people would whisper the word tampon, and they would whisper, they even say feminine protection products or whatever sanitized kind of thing they wanted to say instead of saying pad or tampon. And now it seems much more open, and I don't know if it's because I've been so involved in this world that that's all I hear, or if it's really, I know it's more aware. People are more aware, but
that better, not all that great, but yes, just a tad better. So where do you go from now? You are distributing products, you are having events, you are holding workshops, you are educating people, creating awareness. Where do you see yourself 3 years, 4 years down the line?
Oh my gosh. I would really like to legislate myself out of a job. Really, I'm trying to talk to more legislators to try and figure out the best way to get product where it needs to be, when it needs to be there. And, we see places like Scotland, which has created this great program. And the US is way too big for that. And Michigan is way too big for that even, I think. But I would love to get free product in schools and free product in public spaces. And if there was product where everyone needs it, it wouldn't be that expensive for everyone. We all share the cost a little bit. And
true, I agree. Yeah. But when you talk about this product, we are also talking about it being eco-friendly or environment-friendly, or safe disposal of these products. So, Are you also educating the public about the other side of using these products, and also supplying alternatives?
Right. Yep. We've been giving out pads, reusable pads, and menstrual cups, and period underwear, as well as the disposable pads and tampons. And teaching people about how you use the menstrual cups and how you use period underwear. And I think we need to just keep pushing that. And I hope that once we start giving out more menstrual cups, for example, we'll see fewer people, because they'll have that reusable resource that, once you get over whatever issues you have with being a little more intimate with yourself than with pads, I think it's a really good option. So
you have a number of volunteers as well who help you out with your supply distribution. How do you keep your volunteers motivated? Sometimes it can be challenging to go and talk to people to distribute this. How do you keep them motivated?
I think we change up volunteers a lot. We have a lot of events, so we always have different volunteers at different events. I think that helps. But really, sometimes I have more volunteers than I can deal with, because people are so, this is something that's dear to so many people's hearts. Like, everyone loves someone who's menstruating. or, you know, so has menstruated in the past, you know, so it's an, I don't want to say easy, but it's a very familiar topic. So a lot of people really want to help. And a lot of the ways we have people help are very easy, like sewing bags so we can give product away. So you don't have to talk to anyone. You just sew bags for us and we take them, or stuffing the bags, or
right. So you have different categories of volunteers. You know,
yeah.
If you want to do this, you can do this. That's what helps. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you also have products which are senior required, like diapers, I guess? Is that what you also do?
We also do they're just pads, bladder control pads. But yeah, we found that there were a lot of seniors who were using regular pads for incontinence, and it's a different material. And we thought that we just needed to supply what they really needed rather than having them use the regular pads. So, and yeah, we've distributed a lot of those too. They're very popular at our food banks. Yeah.
I'm sure you have a lot of people willing to help, a lot of partners also. I think Always or Whisper, I think, has helped out by giving you at a wholesale rate. So you have,
and we've had, so we're about 80% individual donor funded, and we have 10% grants and then 10% in-kind donations. So that's things like pads that people donate to us. And we've had Honey Pot donate pads, and we've had Always, and we've had You by Kotex. So we've been very fortunate with those donations, and they've helped tremendously. So
yeah, I'm sure they do. I'm just wishing you all the support and all the help that anybody and everybody can do for your organization. On a parting note, would you like to share your social media handles so we can have more people visiting your website and doing something?
Certainly. Thank you so much for inviting me to be on here today. We're on Facebook as Helping Women Period. Instagram is Helping Women Period. We're on Twitter as Helping Women One, and our website is helpingwomenperiod.org.
Wonderful. So everybody, please go to the website, see how you can help out, and I'm sure Lysne will be very, very happy with your little help that you're going to be generous with. Thank you so much, Lysne. It has been a wonderful conversation with you, and I'm so inspired by all you people who start off by doing, taking one little step, and then it's like the universe conspires to make it happen and make it a success.
Certainly.
That's beautiful. Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.